Well, good evening, everybody, here from sunny South Africa to the cold north as well. Welcome to tonight's talk on diabetes. Uh, Another perspective. Now, just a disclaimer before we get started. We are not here to interfere with your medical doctors or healthcare professionals' treatment. Okay, we don't want to interfere. We are not going to give you a medical prescription, nor will we ask you to stop your medication. We do not claim to have a cure for diabetes, but we are going to share valuable information that might help you. Just some confidentiality and copyright here. What we share tonight is copyright protected, so please do not share it on the internet and social media. Copyright is with Christopher Cowley and Associates and Dr. Brian Hoppy and Elijah Timo. So please treat it as protected. Now, who are we? We are a group of scientists, doctors, nutritionists, pharmacists, healthcare professionals, and ordinary people who have a special interest in diabetes. Maybe we had some of the family of diabetes, or somebody who's still struggling with it, or we got some other reasons why we're interested in it, but we are concerned about it and we want to help people. Now, there's a challenge worldwide. Now, the cost of diabetes to the NHS, this is the UK, is a staggering 1.5 is £1 million an hour. Wow. If I had 1% of that, I'll be happy. You. And this is every hour, or 10% NHS budget for England and Wales. Look at the total £1 billion there per year. Now, in South Africa, diabetes is the #2 killer disease in South Africa. Now, that's frightening. So diabetes is a scourge, it's a big problem worldwide. Now, who are we? We include some of the following people, like Dr. Tom Hickey. He's a certified clinical nutritionist as well, a doctor of naturopathic medicine. There's Annette de Lange, MSc in radiation sciences at the BCom as well. Then Christopher Cowley, Barbara Cowley, from the nutrition side, nutritionist. Elijah Timo is a pharmacist. And then Dr. Brian Hoppy, also a pharmacist. And then the scientist Frank and his wife Bev, also nutritionist. Very important, the knowledge they have and want to share with us. And then there's myself, also scientist and also diplomist nutrition and a nutritionist. Samina Khalid, also a nutrition, as you can see, alternative health. And Bob and Debbie Floof. I hope I pronounced that correct, but okay. Certified health and wellness consultants. You know, that English with a silent P and the silent P and the silent, you know. As Afrikaans speaking people in Africa, we struggle with all the silent P's. But you see, we've got a silent diabetes disease also worldwide. And people are even aware that they've got sugar problems. And unfortunately, we can't stay silent. We must talk to people about this and explain to them and show what can be done. Now, there's a false statement. I am a type 1 diabetic and there's nothing I can do. No. Why be a defeatist? Why just say there's nothing you can do? There's a lot you can do. Because remember, the excess glucose, inflammation, the pain, the deteriorating eyes, the kidneys, the liver damage, and all the things to your heart and so on. You know, your body doesn't know whether you're type 1 or type 2 when it comes to these diseases, or the diseases don't know you're type 1 or type 2. You will develop them either way. So what we are about to show you is just as relevant to any person type 1 or type 2, or for that matter, if you don't have diabetes. Because so many people are already latent diabetics. They just don't know it yet. Or they're struggling from insulin resistance. So it's very important for all of us. So remember, after we eat, the food will be digested and some of it will be turned into glucose. No, it doesn't matter what you eat. Our body will release insulin to deal with it, and that's a normal response. But what happens next?
Thank you, Herman. I appreciate that. This is Dr. Tom Hickey, and I'm from the United States. And I'm going to talk to you about the cellular effects of glucose and insulin. And this is a natural, normal cell. And I want to express my concern for diabetics worldwide, because that number that Herman expressed earlier is staggering. And we are all very concerned about the diabetes epidemic worldwide. So this is a normal cell, and you'll notice that it has two layers at the cell membrane, the cell wall, and you also have on the outside glucose molecules that are circulating in the blood. And those glucose molecules are going to be discussed quite extensively over the next several slides. Then you'll also notice that on the other side of the slide is the insulin receptor and the insulin. And those will also be discussed. Within the cell itself, you'll see that you have a glucose transporter, and you have a little oblong-shaped green thing called the mitochondria. And that's very, very important in this whole process of breaking down glucose for energy. And then you'll notice that inside the cell and in the cell membrane, you see these happy little faces of antioxidants. And those are very, very important for the cellular health. Now, what ends up happening is that insulin actually binds to the insulin receptor, and this triggers the glucose transporter to take up the glucose into the cell. So a channel will actually open up in the cell membrane for the glucose transporter and the glucose to move through and into the cell. So there you have that channel that has opened up, and you'll notice that that glucose transporter is heading out towards the glucose to bring it into the cell. So the glucose in the cell is processed to produce energy, and it does that within that little mitochondria. That's why that was important. Excess glucose is converted into glycogen and fatty acids for storage. Now, not necessarily all people who are diabetic are fat. And so we're just having a little bit of fun here with these pictures, but the idea is that it's all about the cellular absorption of glucose and how that will affect a person over a lifetime. So now what we're seeing is that the glucose is actually circulating in the blood, and the glucose transporter is bringing that glucose into the cell. You'll notice that the insulin is actually attaching to the insulin receptor, and so energy is being produced within every cell of the body. And that energy then is produced so that we have normal functioning in the cell, but those extra molecules that aren't produced into energy are stored in the form of glycogen and fatty acids. But also notice that we have a new picture or a new component to this picture, and that is the free radicals. The metabolism that creates energy within every single cell creates free radicals. So this process releases those free radicals, and the antioxidants in turn destroy those free radicals to prevent cellular damage. However, when we eat a lot of sugary food and processed food and carbohydrates, our bodies produce too much glucose, and what happens is that there is an overload. So now look at how much glucose is in the blood on the outside of the cell. Look how much glucose is inside the cell. That little glucose transporter has been working itself to death bringing in and out those glucose molecules. And look at all of the free radicals that are being produced. Look at the amount of insulin that we have now on the outside of the cell and how many insulin receptors that are actually being contacted. All of this is an overloaded cell, and all of those antioxidants that we saw earlier could not keep up with those free radicals. And they want to be able to try and stop the effects of those free radicals, but they don't. And so when they don't, we are in trouble, very serious trouble. So as we eat more and more food, more glucose is produced and transported into the cells. And the antioxidants are not able to destroy all those free radicals that are produced. So this is actually what happens. Look at how bumpy and distorted that glucose transporter channel is. That glucose transporter is having a hard time trying to bring in glucose into the cell. And look at how bumpy and distorted the cell membrane is. The cell membrane is now really being destroyed and damaged. And look at how much insulin there is that's contacting those insulin receptors. It's just a really overloaded and damaged cell. Look at all the free radicals that you'll notice there as well. There are just too many free radicals, and that's what's causing cell damage. So the cell membrane is now damaged. The channel becomes bumpy and distorted. And this is where we get all of those symptoms of poor eyesight, bad circulation, all of those damaging effects that happen at the cellular level. That's what we're experiencing right now. So I'm going to turn this discussion now over to Annette, and she's going to discuss some other factors about glucose and diabetes.
Thank you, Tom. So once a person is diagnosed with diabetes, be it type 1 or type 2, the doctor will then start to prescribe medication. For type 1, they will prescribe insulin because a type 1 diabetic does not have insulin produced by their bodies. And for type 2, they will prescribe metformin to treat their diabetes. Now, the way it works is basically the same. Extra insulin forces cells to take up the glucose, even though the glucose transporters are having great difficulty into transporting that glucose into the cell. Now, the higher the insulin dose, the more the glucose transporter is forced to transport the glucose into already sick cells. And what that results in is that the cell just becomes a bit more damaged as time goes on. So the idea with the drugs is that they turn down the liver function to release less glucose into the blood. The medication is usually effective for 12 to 24 months. And then, unfortunately, the dose has to be increased or other drugs added to the insulin. Metformin in the case of type 2s. Now, typically, patients end up on insulin within 6 to 10 years from diagnosis with type 2 diabetes. And then, unfortunately, over time, they will need more and more insulin, which means that more and more glucose is forced into the cells. So the things we need to consider in our alternate approach is that the key is to reduce the insulin demand, not increase it. Now, type 2 diabetes is a lifestyle or dietary disease, and so you need a lifestyle or a dietary response, not necessarily medication. We should not think of diabetes as a progressively degenerative disease, because there's a lot you can do. Traditionally, people have been told, you know, it's going to get worse. But obviously, things need to change once you've been diagnosed with diabetes. And the way things have to change is that you need to fix your cells. So is there an alternative? Yes, there definitely is. It is a lifestyle and nutritional way, and definitely not a medical prescription. So when you change your lifestyle, you will change your life. First thing is to reduce your sugar or carbohydrate intake. This will reduce the glucose in your blood, and you can do that also with fiber and botanical balance. And then feed your cells with lipids, sterols, threonine, carotenoids, amino acids, which will lead to repair, replace, and renew the cells in the body. The other way is to increase waste excretion, and intermittent fasting will reduce the load, the glucose load in the body, and prepare the body for the healing process. And now I'm going to hand over to Barbara and Chris, who will give you further information. Thank you.
Yeah, so as I was saying, it's amazing to discover that using alternative forms of treatment, which most people often find are completely without any adverse effects, control blood sugar pretty well. So as a healthcare professional with a special interest in diabetes and other specialist areas, I just want to encourage people to look into other ways of controlling blood sugar and try this diabetes protocol. I have tried it on 1 or 2 patients, and the results were mind-boggling, you know. And the interesting thing is, not a single one of them has complained of any adverse effects or any intolerances or things like that. So it's pretty well tolerated, and you know, they get the best results, and life goes on. You know, if we can achieve this without using medications, I think that achieves a number of things. First, it saves our health care organizations a lot of money, because we know diabetes eats a huge chunk of National Health Service.
Good day. Just want to talk to you about my journey with regards to sugar, and an exciting product that I'm really pleased to say has made a massive difference with regards to my sugar levels, and continues to do so. It probably started about 2 months ago, where I had a regular checkup with a doctor, and I had blood tests that go along with that, and found that I was actually pre-diabetic, and my blood sugar level was running at 8 millimoles per litre. We visited Barbara and Chris, and got chatting about sugar, and he said that he has a product which can make a massive difference to your sugar levels. And I sort of got chatting. We spoke about, you know, lifestyle changes, etc. And alongside that, he said, just try this product. If it works, great. If it doesn't, doesn't matter. And I started taking this product, which is Botanical Balance, and I can quite confidently say over the period of the last 2 months, my blood sugar level has dropped. Now I take Botanical Balance, 2 tablets of Botanical Balance at the start in the morning, about half an hour before my meal, and 2 tablets before my evening meal. And this has had a dramatic impact on the actual sugar levels, and my sugar level has come down from, as I said, 8 millimoles per litre down to averaging around 6.1, 6.5, that sort of level. And it continues to drop. And it also goes alongside, and I found that it goes alongside good lifestyle, drink plenty of water, exercise,
alongside the use of Botanical Balance, and that's made a massive difference to my sugar levels. And I'm pleased to say that I've consciously tried to approach this scientifically, where I've looked at my blood sugar, I've monitored my blood sugar levels beforehand, very clearly, and then what has the impact been on taking the actual tablets. And I can say quite conclusively that that the Botanical Balance has had a major impact on the sugar levels. I'll continue to take that, and I'll keep you posted. Thank you.
My husband was overweight, and he was diabetic, and he had high blood pressure. And he decided, after the doctor gave him a healthy fear scare, that he was losing his eyesight because he wasn't controlling some situations with his lifestyle. And so he decided to make some changes. And some of the changes that made the most powerful impact was shake, added some fiber to it, started with the glucose balance that was incredible, that was put his blood sugar back into balance. When we first started, his blood sugar was way over 300. Within the first 7 days, it dropped 100 points. Within the 30 days, first 30 days, it dropped another 100 points, and it's been level at 90 to 110 ever since. He's dropped 40 pounds, and he feels like a brand new person. So I'm encouraging you to do the same thing. It will make the difference that you're looking for. Thank you.
Right, it's now over to me. We have to start doing what we were supposed to do in the first place. So as a nutritional advisor, you know, I linked myself to these fantastic products because I know they work. It worked for my children and for my father and for my mother. So that's why when you do your lifestyle change, you lose the weight, like Levon just said, you reduce the sugars, you know, don't just reduce it, just cut it. You don't really need sugar at all. There's enough natural sugars in food which you eat every day. Get some exercise. You don't have to run marathons or things like that, but 3 times a week, half an hour is more than enough. You add the intermittent fasting to it. So that is when you only eat 8 hours of the day. The rest of the other 16 hours you fast. You can have water, or you can have tea and coffee without milk. And drink lots of water, at least 2 liters of water per day. Sorry, I mute myself. So as I was saying, I see so many people, you know, they hear about cinnamon and they hear about turmeric and they hear about ginger, and then they go home and they buy the spices and they add them together and they think that must do it. It is not just that simple and plain to do. These powders and herbs and everything else which you see have to be put together in the correct ratios to have that great effect. That's why the Botanical Balance is a broad spectrum holistic formula with chromium, which contributes to normal micronutrient metabolism and the maintenance of normal blood glucose levels. It contains cinnamon, curcumin and turmeric for a comprehensive support. So please don't go home and go and take a teaspoon of each and put them together and swallow it and think it's going to do it. It's not. You're going to be very disappointed if you do that. Right, and the other one which you really need to take with the Botanical Balance is the fiber, the insoluble and soluble fiber. And again, I had a friend who phoned me one night in a spin and said, oh, she was taking these fiber out of a tin, and she only now realized how much of, you know, these saccharine sugars, which they, these artificial sweeteners, which they put into the tins, because a fiber in a tin tastes terrible just as is. So they have to flavor it up a little bit. And that's why I like the fiber tablet, because you can just swallow the tablets. But again, you need to take a lot of water with it. So you take the 2 fiber tablets in the morning with 2 botanical balance, half an hour before your breakfast, and then half an hour before, the same amounts before your other main meal of the day, for it to work properly. So it's 4 tablets of each per day. And then if you look at the next slide, which Herman showed, which is the Pro Vitality, that helps with cellular damage. So if you want to do yourself a favor, then get yourself the Pro Vitality, because it has everything there, your carotenoid, your threonine, your salmon oil, and your essential vitamins and minerals. Because, you know, if you were on insulin or other medications all the time, or you're still using them, cellular damage is happening. So you have to try and fix it one way or another. Right, and then last but not least, it is your protein shake. Your whole body is made up of protein. So therefore, it's very, very important that you take a protein shake. But also be very careful of a protein shake, because if your protein shake is not pre-digested, it is going to hurt your kidneys at the end of the day. And like Chris always say, if you want to know if you take a good protein or not, take 3 of your shakes a day. And after 2-3 days, you know, you will start feeling it if it's not a good one, because it will start messing with your kidneys. It's a bad way of doing it, but it's a good way to see what you are taking. But this protein shake got 22 amino acids, but it also have 2,000 digestive enzymes, and it's pre-digested. It's glycemic response squared, which means that, you know, the extra fiber which is in the shake carry out extra sugars, so that your blood sugar is not going to spike. Now, why these products? The first thing, it's based in nature and backed by science. So it's not something which we just, you know, got out of our thumb and put together. It is really very well researched. There are peer-reviewed studies and publications which you can actually go and do your research and look at it. It is non-GMO, which means not genetically modified, so it's not fiddled with it. And like I said, the glycemic response controlled. There is probably now 63 years of history behind these products. It's produced under pharmaceutical control. So like Chris always say, it's a pharmaceutical grade nutraceuticals. So you cannot buy them in a shop. Forget about it. You would not find the equal anywhere. And Elijah, our pharmacist, did this research many years ago before he started using the products. He actually said he compared it to all the vitamins in his pharmacy, and he could not find anything equal. And the studies prove soil depletion and nutrient deficiency in food and people. So you can't even, you know, plant your own these days. Right, so controlling your glucose levels is a start and not an answer. So it's an ongoing process, and you have to be patient. You got your body in a mess over a long period of time. There is no quick fix. There's not a month or 2 fix for you. So make sure that you just keep going. Okay, and now Chris, it's over to you.
Is it my turn? Well, thank you very much to everybody, you know, for your presentations. It was great. Thank you. But, you know, knowledge is useless if you just go and lock it up somewhere in a vault, or you put it on your shelf. You're not really going to benefit from it. So you can stop the screen share now, Barbara. But I just want to read you or Herman, I just want to read you something interesting. I was on a call, let's say 6 months ago. I was on a call with 76 endocrinologists. So they're supposed to be the people that know and should know about diabetes in the UK. So I was on this call, and I had my questions I wanted to ask. And but you know, I'm not an idiot. Well, some people might say I am, but I did my research beforehand, and I was well armed, you know. So it's one of those things where you ask the question and you already know the answer before you start. So after they had their long doodah, it was interesting, of the 76 or so, only 2 were ladies. So this is a male-dominated world then still, probably, the diabetes part of the healthcare system. And eventually I said, can I ask a little question? Oh, yeah, sure, go ahead. Well, it was actually the one lady was in charge, so that also says something for women. Okay, so she was the head honcho. She said, yes, go ahead. So I said, man, can you tell me, I know your go-to medication is metformin. What kind of reduction in blood sugar levels do you get, if you give a patient metformin? So they had a little discussion amongst themselves, and they came back. So the test they do for this is a 3 months average of your blood sugar level. They call it HbA1c test. And they were very, very excited to tell me that if you take metformin for 15 to 17 years, you can lower your HbA1c by 1.5 to 2%. And then they all went quiet. And I just said, did you actually listen to what you just said? And they looked at me strange. I said, okay, well, I'm in construction and development. I want to propose something to you. Give me I'm going to put in my language what you just said to me. I say, guys and girls, I've got a great investment for you. I'm going to build a brand new commercial center, shopping center, and office buildings and things. And I'd like you to invest all your life savings into my project. I promise you, I'll give you a 1.5 to 2% return on your money in the next 15 to 17 years. And then embarrassing silence again. They became so embarrassed by what they said. And we just had 2-3 testimonies here of people that in a couple of months are lowering their blood sugar levels by 23%, 33%, 45%. So I think we've made the ordinary out of something that's extraordinary. The achievements that people are getting by taking control of their own lives and making the changes they have to and taking the things they have to. You know, I said, most of us are all going to lose weight from the 1st of January. But by the end of January, hardly anybody. And if one person reaches Easter, then it's a great achievement. That's probably why it's 1.5%. But in any case, but I say let's say you can do 9 simple little changes. So 3 lifestyle changes. The 3 lifestyle changes can be simple. I'm taking 3 spoons of sugar in my coffee. I'm going to cut it down to 1. I mean, that's already going to make a big difference. The next thing is I hardly drink any water. I'm going to drink 2 liters of water. And tea and coffee don't count, by the way, because they actually just restrict your blood flow and makes it worse, actually. So that you should discard any liquid that's in tea and coffee. Drink 2 or 3 liters of clean water a day. And if you don't have a filter, just boil it, man. Put it in the kettle, let it cool overnight, put it in a glass bottle and drink it the next day. And if you don't exercise at all, you don't have to run a marathon. Walk only on a Wednesday for 30 minutes, if that helps. It'll make a difference if you're not doing any exercise. Then you choose 3 foods. You can go and Google these things. You choose 3 foods that are great for you if you're diabetic. What are great foods if you're diabetic? Eggs, avocado, bit of olive oil, okay? Then you choose three kind of foods that are terrible if you're diabetic, and you avoid those, okay? What are terrible? Potato, rice, and pasta. It's not very difficult, so you say, oh, I can't get rid of all of them. We'll drop 1 or 2. It's going to make a difference. And then you choose 3 of these supplements, which have been shown to be helpful and useful, and you add them to your diet. And you'd be surprised. I say to the people, if you take, I don't know if your math is very good, though, but you remember they put it up in class for all of us, though. Oh, I don't know. Let's do that. Can you see that one there? 3 to the power of 3. Okay. 3 times 3 times 3. It's not 9, it's actually 27. Okay, so you're doing 9 little things, you get a dramatic difference. It's just amplified the result you can have. That's it. Anybody want to ask any questions, Barbara? Just allow them to unmute. And anybody, you can wave your hand or unmute and ask your questions.
You can unmute yourself now.
Okay. Anybody?
Thank you very much. Was nice talk.
Yes, Maria. Thanks a lot. You have any questions or not?
No, you answered all my questions.
Well, she did share today that her blood pressure is coming down already. But
Yeah,
so
yeah.
that's a good. She's moving in the right direction already. Anybody else with a question?
Hello,
Hello, Rebecca.
it's Rebecca here.
Yes, welcome.
I'm from South Africa.
Oh, that's great. You can
Yes, I've been diagnosed last year, August.
Yes.
My sugar was 27.
Mhm. Yes.
So, yes, they did put me immediately on metformin,
Yes.
500 grams, but it didn't work out. Then they increased the dose to 800.
Yes. They'll keep
850.
going. They'll keep going. Don't worry.
So it's
Yeah.
850 grams, 3
Yeah.
times a day. But my sugar doesn't want to come below 10. It's always 10.2, 10.5. It doesn't want to come below. And I try to eat right.
Mm.
I'm doing my workout every morning for 30 minutes. So I don't know what might be, but my body is very big.
Mm. Okay, Tom, do you want to try and answer that for us a bit?
Well, I'm very curious, Rebecca. Are you taking either insulin or metformin right now?
You must unmute yourself, Rebecca. Okay.
Yes, I'm only taking metformin.
Okay, so you're taking metformin, but you can't get your blood glucose levels below. Did you say 10 or 11?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's like your 200 more or less, Tom.
Yes, yes, exactly. And so have you incorporated some dietary changes and that type of thing, Rebecca?
Yes, I've tried. I've tried, but yes, I've tried really because I've reduced starch, sugar, fatty food, and what is this? Fizz drinks. I don't take them anymore.
Mm.
Tom, what about intermittent fasting?
Well, absolutely. Intermittent fasting would be a phenomenal suggestion for you, Rebecca. Have you tried any intermittent fasting?
No, I haven't. It's the first time I hear about it when I'm at the meeting.
Mm.
Okay.
And did you take any of these products that were suggested or not?
No, I haven't. It's the first time I
First
saw
time.
them.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Okay. So when you have cellular damage, the cellular damage has to be, there has to be a break. There has to be a period of time within the day or the week or the month where you really try and let your body start to repair itself. And when it starts to repair itself, that's when you get some relief or results. And so what you're trying to do with intermittent fasting is you're letting the body have a period of time when you're not throwing glucose at it.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. And so if you have a period of time, and let's just say your eating window is between, let's say, 6 or 7 in the evening until, let's say, 11 o'clock the next morning. You have many more hours for your body to kind of calm itself down, because there's an inflammatory process that takes place when we eat. And that's when free radicals are formed within the cells. If you have less time that you're eating and your eating window is less, your body starts mending, it starts healing. And
so I want to ask, can I drink my meds in the morning, even if I'm not gonna eat that morning? I'm gonna eat at 11 o'clock, or must I take my meds the time when I eat?
right, and you take your medicine in the morning, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, is that what your GP suggested to you?
Yes, because I took 3 times a day, in the morning, lunch, and in the evening.
How long have you been on metformin?
Since from last year, August, when I was diagnosed.
About a year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the products will also now make then a huge difference to her, seeing that she's not that long on medication as well.
Yes, it's not long.
Sorry, Rebecca, it's a question perhaps that if you're intermittent fasting, that you must take your meds in the morning, or must you take it half an hour before your first meal? Is that your question?
Yeah,
If
that's
you
a
are
good
intermittent
question,
fasting.
Carmen.
Yes.
Okay, Rebecca, who invited you? Where did you get the link?
I've got the
From
numbers.
Herman. Okay, yeah, Herman can help you. He knows exactly how the program works. And let him give you and guide you. He really is good at it. So he'll know what to do and how to help you.
I will appreciate it.
Okay, great, Rebecca. Where are you in South Africa?
I am in Free State, Tabanshu. 67
Tabanshu.
kilometers from Bloemfontein, yes.
So you're in the Free States.
Yes.
Okay, thanks. Any other questions, anybody? Anybody else want to ask a question? You're welcome.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening. Who's speaking?
This is Sky Prince from Uganda.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm glad to join you. Yet I've joined too late.
Oh, no, that's fine. Do you have a question?
My question is, like, how is the person who have like 85% of diabetes in his body, how can he control it?
Okay. I mean, the things we suggest, apart from obviously some lifestyle changes, we also suggest fiber, which most of the Western diets are short on fiber. We suggest you control your sugar level by getting some sugar balancer. You know, they've got various names around the world: botanical balance, glucose balance, and you know, then by eating different things. So again, the person that invited you can help you a lot with that. So just go back to the person that sent you the link, and they can help you. You know, give you a little program that will be useful for you. Okay. Okay, then there's Hema. You can unmute. Hello. Hello, good evening.
What's your question?
Your sound's not on. We can't hear you. Just check that you joined with audio.
Yeah.
It shows you have
Joined with
okay, you're muted now. Just unmute yourself again. Okay, try again.
She's not muted.
We can't hear you.
Just check your sound button on your laptop.
If your volume is your volume up? We can't hear you.
Okay.
There we go. Yes.
Type it in the chat.
Okay, can you type it in the chat, because we can't hear you?
Julie Hemmer wants to talk as well. Ask a question.
Yes, but we can't hear her.
Okay, type your question in the chat, and then we will read the question and get the answer for you.
Okay, Barbara, just type for her. Type to her. Barbara will type to her as well. In the meantime, anybody else have a question?
Okay, it's Rebecca again.
Yes.
I forget. Yes, and my stomach. I'm always having a running stomach.
Yes.
Yeah, so I wonder what causes that also.
Okay, Herman, can you help with that?
Well, that often is it's one of the side effects of metformin. Very often, I've heard that from many diabetics that metformin gives them the running stomach. Something you can do, obviously, like just mentioned with fiber. If you take fiber and more fiber diet without a lot of water, it might also slow down the running tummy as well. The opposite effect.
Okay. Any other questions? Okay.
Okay. She's not
Emma, can you type it in for us? Barbara sent you a message. If you can just type, then we can read it. Okay. I think Barbara also just asked you to tell apoptosis. Just tell them that was something that we can understand.
Okay, so apoptosis is, okay, let's just step back. So the body renews itself by replacing old cells in the body. Now, one of the processes, apoptosis, that Chris mentions is when the way the body creates new cells is by creating a copy of an existing cell. So it copies, the body creates a copy of the DNA, then it checks that it's exactly the same copy of the original DNA, and then the cell divides. If the copy of the DNA is not correct, then the body will sort of basically commit suicide. And that is what happens. So with diabetes, the damage that happens in the body, there are so many cells that commit suicide that the body is actually unable to repair and replace all those ill cells or damaged cells. So there's a lot of apoptosis going on in people with diabetes because of the damage from diabetes.
Okay. Okay, Tom, you can answer this one from Emma. It's she's had diabetes for 22 years. She's got burning feet at night. Any suggestions what she can do with that?
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so Emma, when you have the burning in the feet, that's the cellular damage that we talked about. We have to be able to reverse that cellular damage through both lifestyle, diet, and exercise, and some of those types of things. It does take a process. It takes a while to get over that. But when are you on metformin? Are you on any insulin? No.
Let's see if you can. Can you hear me now?
Yes.
Yes.
Voila, worked. I think it was my Bluetooth was on. I disconnected that now.
Okay.
So it's disconnecting from what as well as that, and it started to work.
Okay.
Oh dear. Okay. Anyway, what I have is I'm diabetic for a long time. I try to keep it in control. In the morning, my reading is sometimes 3.5 to 5.5. And as I heard you were saying, after 6 or 7 o'clock, you just have a fasting, which is happening, okay? And it's working well, but since I had this COVID vaccine, I started to have this side effect of that, which my husband reacted differently. He had a infection in his disc on his back, and it lasted about 6 months. And I've been suffering for about six to eight months now with these burning feet at night. If I walk on a cold floor, it feels heaven. It feels very nice. So I just don't know how to work this out. I'm trying everything. I have contacted the plantar fasciitis people, which they said to do some exercise, which is foot exercise. And I go and do swimming and put my feet in a nice feet jacuzzi and things like that. It's helping a little bit, but I want it completely to go away.
Do you have in your lower limbs as well, below your knees, or only in the feet?
Just in the feet.
Just in the feet.
Whole feet by the toes. It's not whole feet. It's just the front foot of mine at the bottom. It's just really unbearable. I need to walk on cold tiles.
Okay, the one thing I know, Tom and Herman, Annette, you could agree or tell me if it's different. I spoke 2 years ago to Brian Hoppy because Barbara's mom had that burning sensation. It was from below the knee and into the feet, though. So she had it extreme, and which really is just, it's, you know, what he said to me is that it's a nerve problem, and a lot of the damage has been done to the sheath which covers the nerves, and you basically have like electric shorting happening because it's uncovered the nerves in certain places. And then I asked him, because my mother-in-law was just about taking everything and every scan and every injection and every ointment that cost 4,000 Rand and 10,000 and 20,000. The bills just kept up and nothing improved. And then I said to him, well, is there any way you can, you know, like you said, reverse this? And he made a very interesting point. He said, all of that repair has to be done with protein. So if you want the repair to happen, you've got to put the amino acids in your diet. And most of the people don't even have the amino acids in their diet. So if you can, and it takes, you know, Tom already said, it takes 6 to 12 months. And Barbara's mom would cry at night, cry in the morning, and during the day, there's no pain. And then at night, she just goes to bed, hour in the bed, then she starts, the pain has just started up against it, up and down, but mostly at night. And then Barbara said, take more protein. Don't take 1, take 2, take 3. Because Barbara's dad was ill, she'd give him the protein and she wouldn't take it. Okay, she thought she's going to save a bit of money on herself. Then she started doing 1 and 2. And then after about 6 or 9 months, I said to Barbara, you do realize your mom's not complaining about her legs and her feet anymore. And then it became noticeable to everybody. Oh, she's not moaning anymore. And then she started again with this, oh, I'm going to save on this protein. And then she started complaining about the pain again. So I'm very convinced that, apart from what Dr. Brian said, is that protein is essential to sort that problem out. Tom?
Well, what I started to do is I take about 2 to 3 times a week breakfast, and I include eggs.
Yeah, but you'd have to eat about 70 eggs a week if you want to make a difference on getting the protein in that way.
Oh God, that's too many.
You can always have cabbage. They reckon about 11 a day.
Oh God, that's too much. Then my cholesterol will shoot up like a rocket.
So you really need the ones that have been powdered and dehydrated already, but in larger quantities. So who invited you? Where did you get the link, Emma?
It's Barbara who keeps sending me, and I tried yesterday. I think everybody was thinking it was yesterday, so they were all logging in. I said, "I'm sure it said Saturday." So
okay.
looking at them, I
Where-
logged in as well, and I said,
Where,
it's
where are
keep
you in the?
buffering. So I made
where-
a message saying, it's keep buffering. It's not connecting at all.
Are you in the UK as well?
I'm in UK, yes.
Oh, okay. Well, Barbara can talk to you. I don't know, Tommy,
Uh-huh.
you want to add
Can
anything about the protein, or Herman?
Sure.
Okay,
So
I
I
think
came to Barbara for a treatment for my feet.
Ah,
Barbara
okay.
can remember.
okay, Hema, you mentioned something about cholesterol. So I'm taking a wild guess here. You are cutting a lot of fats and oils from your diet.
Sorry,
Is that-
say it again, please.
You spoke about your concern about cholesterol. So I assume you're cutting a lot of fats and oils out of your diet.
Well,
Am I
you know,
correct?
my GP has put me on to so many different medicine like metformin, glycoside. Then he's giving me losartan to protect my kidneys. I
Okay.
don't have a high blood pressure or nothing. So he has given
Right.
me that. And then he has given me Froxiga, which allows you to drink lot of water.
Okay.
Then he has given me something called my diabetic nurse has put me once a week injection, which is called oh god, now I can't remember the name now. I have to think about it. Just once a week, and that has made quite a lot of difference in my sugar level. And I have since COVID started, I lost about 20 kgs.
Oh, that's great.
wow.
Mm.
That's
really
great.
good.
Now, my concern is that Chris mentioned your nerves have got a sheath. It's called the myelin sheath. The myelin sheath needs fats and oils. You miss cholesterol. Now, a lot of people with cholesterol problems or concerns, they start cutting out fats and oils, and in the process, they might miss out on some of the fats and oils that your nerves actually need.
I
So
do
you-
take statin for cholesterol.
Yeah, but that's not the point. You might be missing fats and oils that you actually need in your diet. Your omega-3 fish oils, for example, are very important here. For the, Barbara can also explain that to you because Barbara knows you. But I'm just going to say that also could be a factor in this case.
Okay, Hema, will you just message Barbara again? We literally have thousands of people, and she said she can't get your number right now. So even if you just either contact her or just text in the type section, yeah, just type it for her again because she's trying to look it up now.
All right,
Okay.
okay.
Okay, so you can just make.
Just my main worries is my feet, because what happens is I'm into teaching and I need very good night's sleep, and I'm not a light sleeper. I just sleep throughout 6 hours, 7 hours. But since this burning feet started, what I started then to use is you get the PET self-cooling mat.
Yeah.
Hema, what you're trying to do, you're now explaining exactly the way medicine works, though. You're telling me all the symptoms that you're going to try and sort, but you don't go back to what's causing it.
Exactly. What's
You know,
causing
so
it,
if
that's what I want to find out. Because
you'll be putting on the creams and the ointments for the rest of your life without any result. You have to go and minimize the impact, and you have to repair the damage. It's like you smashed your car into the lamppost, and now you keep shining the wheels and cleaning it.
Yes.
You have to sort out the thing where it's been crashed, though.
Okay.
Okay,
So,
but talk to Barbara. She's good at that, and she also has the example of her mom, so she knows what you need.
I heard what you were saying about Barbara's mom, and all of a sudden she stopped complaining. So what magic potion did you give her?
She gave her protein. So let her tell you, and again, it's not the protein you buy in the shop. We're not talking about, we're talking about decent stuff that works, though.
All right. Okay.
So please just send me a message, Emma, okay?
On a WhatsApp or on just normal?
On
WhatsApp. Then she'll just pick it up again. It's
right. I'll do that later.
It's like one person said to me the other day, you haven't replied to me. I said, yes, we received 85,000 messages today, and it wasn't even a lie.
All right. Okay. I'll let you get on with that. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to say something? But I think it's time to go home or to go to church already tomorrow.
Bye.
Okay, thanks a lot.
Bye, Miriam.
Bye. Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Herman and
Annette.
Annette and Barbara and everybody.
Bye, everybody. Bye, Chris. Bye, Barbara.
Thanks for
Thanks a
sharing.
lot.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks,
Thank
everybody.
you, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.